One day, I saw my husband lying on the couch doing nothing after he came home from working overtime. He never even told me he came home. He just sits down and watches TV. He complains about how I haven't cooked dinner yet and took off his dirty clothes and threw them aside. I sighed loudly and started to prepare dinner.
Hey, I'm hungry. I have work tomorrow and I need to get to bed early.
I just got home. You're always complaining. Wouldn't it be nice to help me sometimes? Why won't you ever help me around the house?
I'm busy, you know. You're a woman, so stop complaining and do your chores.
What century is that mindset from? I work from morning to night too. Why can't you help me at least a little bit? That's what it means to be kind.
It's your fault for deciding to keep working.
You said it yourself to keep working after we got married. And I like my job. I don't want to quit.
Then it's your fault, isn't it? In the eyes of the world, you're just second-hand goods now. If you try to shuffle a job and being a housewife, you're going to break.
Used goods? Huh? Why do you say such horrible things? You're a teacher, aren't you? Do you teach your students like that?
I'm a respected teacher at my school. I am very popular with my students.
If the students knew you were like this at home, how do you think they would think of you?
It's okay as long as they don't find out. Teachers are human beings too. It's the many faces you have that gives people their charm.
What the hell are you talking about? No one respects a teacher like that.
Shut up and do the housework.
I hardly ever talk to my husband anymore. Every once in a while he opens his mouth and it's always like this. Since our daughter got a job and is no longer living with us, our relationship has completely cooled off. Things were different before. We got married because we were in love, and before we met and got married, my husband was very kind to me. I felt like he was the one who made the big move to marry me. I thought that happiness for a woman comes when they are in love and married. I'm honestly very sad that my husband has changed so much. I think my husband has changed in the last few years. I feel like he's been cheating on me for some reason. But he is too guarded to give me any clues. I even thought about hiring a private investigator for help. Some part of me still believes in my husband. It's funny, isn't it? How things have cooled off.
Hey, I need to talk to you.
Oh, what's wrong? It's rare to hear you sound so kind.
Why are you always like that? Just when people are trying to be nice to you. Always. You usually talk to me in a disrespectful way, don't you?
I'm scared that you're talking to me so kindly way all of a sudden.
This is why I hate old women in their 40s.
Age has nothing to do with it. You're getting older too.
Ugh, I can't do this anymore.
Can't do what?
I'm tired of living with used goods like yourself. Divorce me.
Fine then. But my husband was weird from this point on.
What? What? You don't understand what I'm saying?
Of course I do.
It's divorce. You know what divorce means, right?
Of course I know what it means. I know that much.
Getting a divorce is hard, you know. Don't you care about what other people think?
It may be hard. I don't care about public perception, I mean. Why are you panicking so much? Oh, do you think that I would say I don't want a divorce?
I mean, it's not that easy of a decision, right?
But you do want a divorce, right? That's why you said it.
Well, yeah, but...
So I said, okay, you should be thanking me. Did you just say it on a whim?
Of course not.
Right. So you want a divorce, right? Then let's get a divorce. Where are the divorce papers?
I don't have them on me right now.
You have to have these kinds of things prepared. Go get them already.
I'm always ready. Well, that was a bit of a letdown because it was so easy. Oh, but you know what? I didn't cheat on you, so don't even think about alimony.
Why is cheating suddenly on the table? Are you having an affair? I mean, it's not like you're going to tell me anyways.
That's not true.
Really? Then let's make sure I get my share of our wealth. I'm working hard too, so I didn't have any trouble making ends meet. I called your daughter right away and told her we were getting a divorce. As you can imagine, she was surprised. She knew what my husband had said to me and how he had been treating me. She immediately agreed to the divorce. By the way, has your dad called or texted you? Oh, wait a minute. I just got a text from Dad right now. And he contacted my daughter almost as soon as I did. I know our daughter loves her father, but she's not the biggest fan of him. Even when his job as a teacher, he almost never attended her school events when she was young. She felt very lonely. His works and attitude toward her stood out to her. I think she's growing more and more disgusted with him as she gets older. Yup, Dad told me the news. I knew it. What else did he say? He says he feels lonely now that he's by himself and told me to come visit him soon. It's a pain. So I just ignored him. Besides, I don't need to go to Dad's house or anything. Oh, poor Dad. It's not that I feel sorry for him. I would never want to marry someone like that. Besides, now I can see Mom without worrying. Oh, yay. Let's go out for dinner on our next day off. Great, let's go. Yay, I'll call you later. And I ended the call with my daughter. Mom, you haven't gotten younger. I haven't seen you in a while, but that's how it seems. Really? It's been a while since I've seen you, hasn't it? Maybe about 6 months. I've been busy with everything, so how is it living alone for the first time in a while? It's great. I get to hang out with my friends more. I have more time for my hobbies. I have 3 classes I attend every week now. That's great in a way. I'm glad you got divorced. Yeah, I wish I'd divorced him sooner. I'm really at peace every day not having to look at your dad's sour face. Before the divorce, he was so obvious about it. He called me a used hag. What an asshole of a man. That still pisses me off to this day. What? He called you stuff like that? Yes. He said, you can't have a used hag over 40. I see, so that's how it is? What's wrong? Well, I've been doing some research. What about? It looks like my daughter was doing a background check on my husband. I saw Dad walking with a woman I don't know. They were arm in arm making out. She saw my husband having an affair with another woman. I knew he was having an affair. Oh yeah, it's so disgusting. I'm so done with him. Mom, you should do some research and get proof so that you can get alimony from Dad. There's a limit to what an amateur can do, so I asked a professional. What? That's expensive, isn't it? They actually said we can pay for it after the case is settled. Actually, a guy from work introduced me to him. You can't just let this end in divorce. That's not good enough. I will never forgive Dad. If we get alimony, we can use it as a payment to the people we hire, and it won't hurt getting some extra money, right? Sure, that wouldn't be a problem, but... Okay, I'll call you when I gather the evidence. Later that day, my daughter called me to meet with my husband. My husband answered the phone and was quite grumpy. What do you want? My daughter wants to talk to you, and I'm going to be there. Do you have a few minutes to meet outside? I'm not going to see you. I wouldn't want to see you if I could either, but my daughter really wants to meet with you. He said he understood reluctantly for his daughter's sake. A few days later, my daughter and I met up with my husband at the cafe where he was waiting for us. Oh, my daughter is as cute as ever. And piece of used goods is as old as ever. As soon as we met, my husband spoke disrespectfully again. Dad, why do you say that? I don't like that kind of father. Okay, I won't say it again. Don't tell me you don't like your father. I'm a very honest man, so I just say what I was thinking. What's with that excuse? I hate a father who could call my mother used goods. Okay, I won't say it in front of you anymore. No, not just that. Don't say it ever again. It's too cruel. Okay. My daughter always seemed to be joking around, saying she didn't like Dad. She used to say it as a joke, but now it sounds like she really means it. By the way, can I cut to the chase? I heard you were having an affair. No, of course not. Why are you being so paranoid? Do you miss me or something? I'm not delusional, and I don't miss you. You know that. I have proof. Proof? How is that possible? Dad, I'm sorry, but I'm the one who found the proof. Huh? Dad, you are having an affair with your student's mother, right? You've been in a dating relationship with her before your divorce. What are you talking about? How can that be? Can you still say that after seeing this? When she said that, my daughter put out a few pictures on the table. Of course, they were pictures I had never seen before. They were of my husband and the woman he was having an affair with. Oh my. Where were you planning on going hand in hand? Oh, the date on this one looks like the day after the divorce, doesn't it? This is not cheating. It's after the divorce, so it's not a problem. Well, then it's all good, but I'm sorry, Dad. She then spread a few more sheets of paper on the table. Oh, These are emails, right? That's right. Remember when I went over to the house to help you move out, Mom? That's when I checked out Dad's computer. since it seemed like he'd been guarding his phone. But I knew they must have been talking, so I checked his computer. I was surprised because I didn't know anything about this.
You, even if you're my daughter, you're using someone's computer without permission. I'm not going to let this one slide.
Oh, have you forgotten, Dad? I didn't use it without permission. I asked if I could borrow your computer to look up something. Don't you remember?
Oh.
I had to look something up, it's true. But I don't know if it was good timing or bad timing. I got an email about the same time I started up the computer. The sender's name was Love, so I clicked on it. I couldn't help it, did I? My daughter gave my husband a devilish smile, but I'm not sure if there was something she really wanted to check or not. It's proof you had an affair from the time you were still married, isn't it? Are you prepared to pay alimony?
We're divorced, so alimony has nothing to do with it.
Oh, you don't know. The statute of limitations on cheating is 3 years. So I've only been divorced for a short time, so I have a right to demand alimony from you.
What the hell?
I readily accepted your divorce, didn't I? That was very sincere, wasn't it? So show me some good faith and pay the alimony. I got up from my seat, and my daughter said to me, "Wait, I'll go with Mom as well. Oh, Dad, I really don't like you anymore. Don't ever contact me again. It's disgusting to have a man who cheats on his wife as my father."
Wait.
If you ever show up or call me again, I will sue you for stalking me. Well, good luck. I'll talk to my lawyer about the fees and stuff. From now on, everything goes through my lawyer. Next, we decided to meet the woman my husband was having an affair with. Hi. Nice to meet you. I'm his ex-wife. This is my daughter. What business do you two have with me? It's about you and my ex-husband's affair. What? What are you talking about? I didn't have an affair. Perhaps she was trying to pretend to not know, but when my daughter showed her the evidence, her face changed. This is proof that you and my father were having an affair. You have a lot of time on your hands, don't you? Aren't you ashamed of letting your daughter do all this work for you, you used hag? Excuse me? That's what he used to call you, used hag. Well, that's enough. Let's get on with it. I'm going to charge you alimony too. I just filed an alimony suit against my husband. But you guys are divorced, right? Then it doesn't matter anymore. It seems you don't know either. As I explained to my husband earlier about the statute of limitations on cheating, you know cheating is not the fault of the cheater. If only you had been more feminine, like me, he wouldn't have cheated on you with me. It's your fault for being a used hag, isn't it? Don't you think it's wrong to blame only me while putting aside your own lack of effort? Oh, but is that what being a used hag is all about? I don't know what she's talking about, saying it's my fault I was cheated on. And then my daughter, who had been silently listening, spoke up. Hey, lady, from my point of view, you're a used hag too, right? Huh, how rude. Old hag, that makeup and fashion, you're just trying to look young, aren't you? I don't know how old you are, but you look older than my mother. Hey, your daughter is way too rude. Oh, I'm sorry. Your cheating boyfriend raised this child. What the hell? This exchange went on for a while. It was more of an argument between my daughter and the cheater than between me and the cheater. It was kind of funny to watch. My daughter is great at getting in jokes, but when it came to the alimony, the cheater would not budge. This is what I told her. If you won't pay me alimony, may I speak to your husband? The cheater's eyes widened. Oh, you're going to tell my husband? Of course, the divorce is already final. But the fact is that you and my husband had an affair, right? It is a fact that you broke up your family by cheating. I don't think it's right that only our side should suffer the pain. I'm going to make sure that you are punished as well. I have no idea what you're talking about. And with that, the cheating partner stormed out of the store. Oh, she's gone. I wonder if she's ever going to be remorseful. Well, if she had apologized and reflected on her actions, I wouldn't have been so harsh. Well, this was the other party's fault, so there's nothing I can do about it. A few days later, I got a call from my husband. Hello, can I help you?
I don't want anything. What did you tell the school?
Well, I told them the truth.
Why did you do that?
Because neither of you nor the other woman have ever apologized to me. I was very angry with the both of you.
I had to quit my job. They said I would be suspended for 6 months, so I had no choice. Everyone was looking at me disappointed. so I had to resign.
I really wanted you to be dismissed from my job on disciplinary grounds, but unfortunately that wasn't possible.
Well, you can't get fired for cheating, but I ended up quitting anyways.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. It's a good thing I got my alimony in one lump sum.
Yes, that alimony. And the other husband charged me for it too.
Isn't that just natural?
If you hadn't said all the extra stuff, the other husband would have never found out about it. You coward.
Coward? Which one of us is the coward? You call people used hags and you have an affair and hope people don't find out? Do you think it's okay for a teacher who teaches children about math and world history to do such a thing? Oh, and now you're going to teach the children about this too, right? And if you destroy your family by cheating on your wife, you're going to be charged alimony and you could lose your job.
But...
Okay, you reap what you sow. Your daughter who loved you so much, she wants to live her life without you in it now. You no longer have a daughter, no more future brides-to-be. You will never see your grandchildren. You caused all of this.
I'm sorry. I didn't know I'd hurt you that much.
Yes, it hurt me a lot.
I'm really sorry. I was out of my mind.
I don't care.
So then...
Then what? My husband's next words took me by surprise.
Why don't we start over? If you'll forgive me, everything will be all right, won't it? If you think of me as retiring a little early, it's not so bad that I'm quitting, right? I'll take care of housework this time, and you can support us with your work.
What the hell is this guy thinking? I hung up the phone with one last comment. I'm not going to start over. If you want to start over, you're on your own.
Wait a minute. Please don't abandon me.
He was about to say something, but I hung up on him. After that, the husband and the cheating partner ended up fighting with each other and broke up. The cheating partner divorced her husband. The cheater is now working hard to pay the alimony for both of them. My ex-husband is working part-time and paying alimony to the cheater's husband. I'm having a good time with my daughter with the money my husband gave me. I was hurt by the words my husband hurled at me over the years. I am now healing from the wounds.
All right, everyone's presentations are done. Nick, the manager, said as he tried to move the discussion forward. Excuse me, I haven't. I recently found out something. Nick interrupted me and began to speak. There's apparently someone in this department who didn't graduate high school and is just a part-timer. Meetings should be for employees only. Absolutely right. His lackey, Mike, of course, agreed with Nick. I'm leaving. After leaving the meeting room, I started to shut down my computer. I noticed that an email had arrived, not in my personal inbox, but in the company's shared email. Thinking, there's no point in speaking up, no one will listen, I went home quietly. The next day, I heard a commotion from Nick's desk. He was staring at his computer screen, his face pale. Nick! Is something wrong? Mike looked at the screen with him. And he turned even paler than Nick. Why is he so angry? Knowing the reason for Mike's distress, I thought to myself, serves them right. My name is Adam. My mother passed away when I was in the 9th grade, and I was raised by my father. Well, you could hardly call it being raised. After my mother passed, my father changed. He drowned his sorrows in alcohol, and though he still went to work, he squandered our living expenses on horse racing. Because of that, I had to start working part-time as soon as I entered high school. Every month, I went to the convenience store with bills in hand that couldn't be auto-deducted from my father's account. Even though I endured it because I didn't want to be alone, I reached my limit in my second year of high school and dropped out. I found a live-in job at a distant inn. Thank you for everything. The day I left home, my father, still staring at the TV, spoke. Take care. That was our last conversation. Back then, 18 wasn't the age of majority, so I needed my father's permission to work, and I couldn't hide my place of employment. Yet, my father never visited me even once. I kept working just to survive, and before I knew it, I was 42. Years of hard work paid off, and I was transferred to the headquarters. I was thrilled to be recognized by the company, as I thought I'd be working in the field until retirement due to my lack of formal education. Listen up. Our work can change the future of our employees. Don't drag us down. On my first day after the transfer, Nick, dressed in an expensive suit, spoke sternly. There was a reason for this. Our inn was located in a prominent tourist destination, known so well that everyone in the state could sing its commercial jingle. At its peak, we had 5 locations within the state. But that was long ago. Due to financial difficulties and aging facilities, only the place where I had worked for many years and the original establishment remained. I was prepared to lose my job anytime, but now there was a glimmer of hope. With the rise of social media, the tourist area where the inn was located started gaining attention again. Depending on how hard the sales department, where I was transferred, worked, we could either thrive or be forced to give up this prime location to the new hotel chains continuously popping up. For Nick, who had switched careers from another industry to strengthen our sales, this was a battle he couldn't afford to lose. I understood why he had to be strict. "I will do my best." Nick sneered at my enthusiastic declaration. "Did you not hear what I said?" "I'm sorry." I thought I was listening carefully. Out of habit from years of customer service, I apologized reflexively, though I had no idea what had offended him. Someone was watching me with a smirk. In this department, there are those who are expected to excel and those who have been shoved here because they have nowhere else to go. You are the latter. It was Mike, the section chief. He's 7 years younger, at 35. But he was called to headquarters much earlier than I was and had been moving around within the headquarters ever since. I'm not jealous, but I can't accept that he's my boss. Graduating from a prestigious university, he has an unusually high pride and caused many problems as a newbie, making things very difficult for me when I was the front desk leader. When I found out Mike was transferred to the sales department a month before me, I was disheartened. Mike is right. With just a middle school diploma, there's not much you can do. Don't even think about achieving results. As if I didn't exist, Nick remarked, "I'm thirsty." Mike eagerly ran to the coffee maker. It seems Mike is Nick's lackey. I regretted being happy about my transfer to headquarters, wishing I had stayed on site forever. Send a direct mail to every company on this list by the end of the day. Nick only assigned me tasks that even a new graduate could handle. What? There are over 1,000 companies. You want me to send to all of them by today? Yes, if you and your fellow misfits split the work, even those with nowhere else to go should finish by today. I glanced at the employees typing away expressionlessly. They were worn out from customer service, only thinking about leaving on time, or were women reassigned after having children, with zero motivation for work. Even Sam, a new graduate from the same university as Mike, who was supposed to be among the expected achievers, had no enthusiasm for the job, having joined the company wanting to do customer service. "I don't care what they say, I plan to quit anytime," he said. Only Nick and Mike were highly motivated, making all the decisions between the two of them. I originally only wanted to work at the inn to survive and had no particular attachment to this job. I swallowed my words, thinking I had no right to reprimand them. About a month after the transfer, Nick told us with a frustrated look, "To commemorate the 50th anniversary, we've decided to create a plan exclusive for one group per day." Originally, Mike and I were supposed to come up with it, but our president, Mr. Thompson, insists on hearing everyone's opinions. "So, you all get a chance." As Nick explained, Mike began handing out prints. "Make sure not to embarrass Nick. If your ideas are half-baked, you'll have to redo them." It seemed that they had printed his handwritten notes by Mr. Thompson, which included several questions and a section for free responses. It made sense why Nick had to seek our input, given that all responses had to be submitted to Mr. Thompson. We were given a week to think about it, and a meeting was scheduled to compile our ideas. My plan is to let guests enjoy both the old and modern America. Nick began the presentations. Guests would watch a master confectioner at a nearby traditional sweet shop make sweets in front of them. The welcome drink would be premium tea in a bottle. Nick's plan was certainly attractive. After his presentation, Nick called on us to present in the order we were seated. Just as I stood up for my turn. "All right, everyone's presentations are done." "Excuse me, I haven't. I recently found out something." Nick interrupted me. "There's someone in this department who didn't graduate high school and is just a part-timer." He was likely talking about me. I joined the company as a part-timer and was made a full-time employee when I turned 20. That was 20 years ago, so Nick and Mike probably had no chance to know until recently. Meetings should be for employees only. Absolutely right. After that, Nick kept creating opportunities to solicit everyone's opinions, purposefully excluding me from speaking. The meeting unexpectedly heated up and went past the scheduled end time. A few people asked to leave, and the discussion continued with the remaining few. Still here? Normally, you'd leave in that situation. Though I had no attachment to the job initially, hearing kind words from customers made me want to make them happier. For someone like me, with nowhere to go, the inn was my home and customer service was my life. I felt pathetic about my current self. I'm leaving. I left the conference room and started shutting down my computer. I noticed an email had arrived, not in my personal inbox, but in the company's shared email. Thinking no one would listen to what I had to say anyway, I quietly went home. The next day, while preparing the DM as instructed, I heard a commotion from Nick's desk. In his haste to stand up, he hit his knee on the desk. He stared at his computer screen, his face pale. Nick! What's wrong? Mike, thinking he should be the first to rush over, approached Nick while still wearing his coat. He peered at the screen with Nick. And he turned even paler than Nick. Why is he so angry? Who is responsible for this company? Nick, more irritated than ever, asked, and Mike answered without checking. Probably Sam. Sam wasn't there because he was attending a morning training session for new hires. Nick gave up on getting angry and returned his gaze to the screen. They were looking at an email that arrived right after the end of the working day yesterday. Apparently, no one, including me, had checked it before leaving. The email was from a large company that used us for their annual employee trips. The president and executives of that company also frequently used our services personally. President of the company, Mr. Mason himself had declared that neither he nor his company would ever use our services again. Well, some companies cancel their employee trips or stop using our services due to financial struggles. Let's just move on. Mike kept wiping the sweat from his forehead with a handkerchief. Knowing why Mike was so agitated, I quietly watched their interaction. Do you know how much revenue we get from that company? We can find other guests to fill the rooms, but we'll lose the banquet costs, gift shop revenue, rental car fees, and more. Moreover, the gifts were supposed to be prepared by the traditional confectionery shop involved in Nick's proposed plan. If it's known that we incurred such a huge loss at this critical time, Nick's position in the company would be jeopardized. Nick took a deep breath, seemingly trying to calm himself. All right, Mike. Go to New York right now and apologize to Mr. Mason. What? You're coming with me, right? I have urgent work to do. I trust you, which is why I'm entrusting this to you. Please. Mike, believing Nick's sincerity, agreed with a determined look on his face, saying, yes. That's Nick for you. Even if Mike went to apologize, Nick would shift all the blame onto him if the client didn't change their mind. Well, it was Mike's fault to begin with, so it served him right. About 3 hours later, Sam answered a call from somewhere and repeatedly apologized, saying, I'm very sorry. Everyone watched to see what was happening. After ending the call, he informed Nick with a weary tone. When Mike arrived at the client's company, he only made things worse, further infuriating Mr. Mason. He was demanding, get his boss here immediately. It was no wonder Sam was exhausted, dealing with such a call right after returning from training. What is that idiot doing? All right, Adam, you're coming with me. If sacrificing Mike didn't work, then I must be next. Normally, I'd want to refuse at all costs, but I saw an opportunity in this situation. If I can be of assistance, I'd be happy to join you. I immediately followed Nick, and we flew to New York. When we introduced ourselves at the reception, it became clear how serious the situation was. As the receptionist personally escorted us to the president's office. Angry voices leaked through the door, making both Nick and me uneasy. Excuse me. I'm Nick, the supervisor. I understand my subordinate has caused you trouble, and I deeply apologize. Nick, with his experience in the corporate world, knew enough to offer an apology before excuses. However, his customer service skills left much to be desired. I sighed as I saw Mike trembling like a small dog in the corner of the room. What kind of training are you giving your subordinates? Mr. Mason glared at Nick with a red face. The intensity of his gaze made even Nick take a step back. Regrettably, I joined this company only 2 years ago and was unaware of Mike's issues. I should have identified his shortcomings sooner. Indeed. I should have realized sooner. No sensible person would come to apologize and then give a lengthy presentation on the drawbacks of not using their in. Nick froze, his mouth slightly open. Suspecting the worst, I picked up the documents that had fallen to the floor. It seemed Mike hastily prepared these documents on the plane, listing the disadvantages. Disadvantage 1: if you change the venue for the company trip, employees might suspect it's for cost-cutting reasons, leading to a negative impression. Reading it aloud half-jokingly, Nick snatched the papers from my hand and checked the contents with a furious expression. Among the stack of documents was a receipt from a nearby convenience store's copy machine. I felt a pang of dread, hoping he hadn't shown the receipt as well. What do you think he said when I asked what kind of nerve he had to do this? I'm very sorry. Faced with the dire situation, Nick must have thought there was nothing left to do but apologize. In a voice smaller than I'd ever heard from him, he uttered words of apology. He said, "I'm a Harvard graduate. I don't believe I said anything wrong." Mike! What have you done? Forgetting his plan to pin the blame on Mike, Nick yelled loudly, even in front of Mr. Mason. "I didn't do anything wrong." "You're still saying that? Look at him." Mike pointed at me with a shaking hand. "I was assigned to headquarters in my 20s and now I'm a section chief. This guy only made it to headquarters at 42. Everything I've done proves I was right. So why are we losing the contract?" Having said his piece, Mike collapsed to the floor. "Of course. You were sent there because you had nowhere else to go." Mike never expected to hear such words from someone he looked down upon. He lunged at me, and Nick hurriedly stepped in to stop him. "Mr. Thompson told me Mike is a quick thinker, and to take good care of him." There's no way he was pushed aside. "Don't make things worse here. He didn't say quick thinker, he said only quick-witted, didn't he?" I don't remember that part." I recalled the many troubles Mike caused when he was a newbie. When Mike was on the front line, his pride was so high that he never apologized to customers. Customer service, especially in our job, doesn't work alone. It brings both good and bad situations. If the front staff or housekeepers made mistakes, or the cleaning company didn't properly clean a room, one had to apologize to the customers regardless of personal fault. Mike, in such situations, would never apologize, insisting he wasn't at fault. This often angered customers, and as the front desk leader, I frequently had to apologize on his behalf. He caused complaints and disrupted operations, which is why he was quickly moved to headquarters. In departments where he didn't interact directly with customers, his quick thinking was beneficial and things went well. But it seemed his flaws were starting to show. Corporate reservations are supposed to be entered into the system by the sales representative. But a quick check yesterday revealed that more than 10 items were missing from the client's reservation. The handover document clearly stated what needed to be prepared. Why didn't you enter it into the system? Why do we have to give them special treatment? Filling rooms near the banquet hall, setting up all the food in advance. Specifying the brand of wine, they're too demanding. No wonder he always angered customers, I thought, feeling a headache coming on. Grouping them in rooms near the banquet hall is for our benefit too. It makes it easier for the staff to set up beds and serve breakfast since everyone's schedule is synchronized. As for the other requests, Mr. Mason suggested them to lighten our load. I didn't know that. Nick finally seemed to realize that Mike was the one who had angered the client. What did you say to them? I just told them we wouldn't give them special treatment anymore. We shouldn't waste effort on things that don't bring in money. I was utterly exasperated at his lack of understanding of customer service. Of course, we shouldn't comply with unreasonable demands. But carrying over successful practices from past stays makes customers feel remembered and enhances their experience. Good memories encourage repeat visits. That's part of our job. I looked down at Mike, who was sitting on the floor. In our job, nothing is a waste. Mr. Thompson likely moved you to the sales department, hoping you'd finally understand this. How do you think he feels now that you failed to meet his expectations? Mike, tears in his eyes, fled the president's office. I was amazed he still hadn't apologized. You have it tough, Adam. It's okay, we're all employees of the same company. I deeply apologize for this disrespectful incident. Especially after all the care you've shown us. If it weren't for you, Adam, I really would have stopped staying here. When I heard you were moving to the sales department, I was willing to reconsider if you handled it. Seeing us talk so amicably, Nick's face contorted. Do you two know each other? Adam's service is excellent. I always requested him specifically. Normally, we don't accept specific staff requests, but we made an exception for Mr. Mason, adjusting my shifts accordingly. He had personally stayed at our hotel just before my transfer, and during casual conversation, I mentioned, I'm moving to the sales department soon. If I hadn't told him then, things could have been much worse. Please continue to take care of us. I look forward to it. On the return flight, Nick awkwardly offered me a can of beer. It's still working hours. Of course, I had no intention of forgiving him for a single beer. Nick might try to pin everything on Mike and avoid any consequences. While pondering this, a startling fact came to light. Nick, the tea bottles for the plan have arrived. I handed Nick a bottle labeled with our inn's name. They look good. What are you talking about? These are plastic bottles. I had assumed we would use the trendy, high-end bottling tea. But what arrived were ordinary plastic bottles of tea with customized labels. The only unique aspect was the label, which had the inn's name, making it look customized. Upon further investigation, I discovered that a substantial amount of money was set to be paid to the tea company. It was priced like bottling tea. Does this plastic bottle really cost $100 each? The tea inside is specially blended for us. The extra cost is for that. Wouldn't it be better to use another tea company? Or is there a specific reason we must use this one? As Nick continued to make excuses, I showed him a printed email. I informed the tea company's president, Mr. Mitchell, that we discovered irregular payments and he confessed. He said you two were high school classmates and planned to split the extra money. That idiot. Why did he confess? That's not important. You should worry about yourself, this could turn into a police matter. Opening the bottle cap, I suggested. How about calming down with this tea? It supposedly has a relaxing effect. Nick drank the tea frantically. In the following days, decisions were made about their fates. Mike was reassigned to the General Affairs Department, with no chance of transfer or promotion, as per Mr. Thompson's orders. As for Nick, since the payment to the tea company hadn't yet been made, he narrowly avoided legal trouble. Instead, he was encouraged to leave the company, and to avoid further complications, Nick submitted his resignation. Rumor has it that connections between HR departments have made it difficult for him to find new employment. Even though it was good to have those two gone, something unexpected happened in the sales department. Everyone became motivated and united in refining the 50th anniversary plan. In the end, my plan was adopted. We collaborated with the Tourist Information Center to provide personalized guides. The plan, tailored to the number of guests, was truly special for the 50th anniversary. Hey, is Adam's family coming to stay? I immediately booked that special plan for my family. Sam noticed it on the reservation list and quickly picked up on it. Yes, I'm inviting my father. That's great. I might invite my parents too. I lacked the courage to face my father just as Adam. But here, with the confidence Mr. Mason praised, I felt ready. The 50th anniversary plan was a perfect opportunity to reconnect with my father. I hoped to bring back the days when we could laugh together as we once did.